Hey everybody, Dr. Barron here with virtualheadachespecialist.com. I just dropped a new blog on morning headache, so headache that you wake up with, and I will put the link in the feed and in the comments. But first of all, you want to differentiate headaches that you just kind of wake up with in the morning and they're there versus waking headache, where it actually wakes you up out of sleep, severe headache. There's three primary headache disorders that typically do that, where it wakes you up abruptly out of sleep. Migraine is one, with severe headache, nausea, sensitive to light, sound, throbbing pain. Cluster headache, which is just often just one severe pain on the one side, like an ice pick in the eye, with tearing of the eye, redness of the eye, runny nose, venous congestion in the nose, these kind of features. And then a headache called hypnic headache, which used to be called alarm clock headache. And this would wake the person up at the same time every night, like an alarm clock. And so you can read about these three headache types on my website. There are certainly bad types of headaches that can do that. So thunderclap headache is a severe onset like that, and that's the type of headache you always want to get evaluated immediately, especially if it's a newer type of headache, because that can suggest even a bleed, subarachnoid hemorrhage, and so that requires urgent medical care. So always, new headaches that you're waking with, get them checked out, as for any headache. But some general things that you can go after for just the typical headaches you wake up in the morning and it's kind of there. So first of all, you want to look at poor sleep quality, sleep positioning. Sometimes pillow choice can affect these things. So anything that affects those deep restorative stages of sleep, that's where your brain is replenishing all of its neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, acetylcholine, all these that influence mood and pain and cognitive function and memory. So if you're not getting restoration of those neurotransmitters, the result is that you get a lot of symptoms, cognitive complaints, excessive fatigue, increased headaches, brain fog, migraines often will escalate. And there's things that can cause this, certainly any kind of insomnia where you have trouble falling asleep, staying asleep. Sleep apnea is another common cause of this. We have morning headaches, and this is where when you're sleeping, the tissues in the throat kind of collapse because they become paralyzed, and you basically stop breathing. Your body kind of wakes up subconsciously, and enough to kind of stimulate those muscles to breathe again, but you don't really realize this is happening overnight. So it's something that requires a sleep study, but some signs of this are if you are snoring excessively, if you wake up choking, or if your bed partner notices that you stop breathing, these kind of things in the middle of the night. Another easy target would be things like dietary intake of caffeine. A lot of people are very sensitive to caffeine. Even just a very small amount can keep them up all night long. Other people certainly doesn't affect them, but caffeine, alcohol disrupts entering into those deep stages of sleep, which is why you usually feel pretty lousy when you drink too much alcohol. And then medication overuse headache or rebound headache is another cause of headache. So patients that are using a lot of abortive medicines, triptans, over-the-counter pain medicines for migraine, on averaging more than 10 days out of a month, when you're sleeping, those medicines are being eliminated from the body, and you wake up and the brain's kind of in a withdrawal state and it needs more medicine. You take the medicine, you feel better, and that's called a rebound headache. So that's another common cause that we see in migraine. Dehydration is very important. So, alcohol can certainly cause you to be dehydrated. You wake up with a dehydration headache. So you want to keep hydrated. I have another blog that talks about dehydration headache and how much water to be taking in. And then there's other medical conditions that your doctor would typically think about as well, and these would include, certainly sleep apnea being a very common cause that you'd want to look at, but sleep bruxism, grinding the teeth, clenching the jaw, TMJ issues are often a common thing that people describe when they have, jaw pain in the morning or grinding the teeth. The dentists often will notice this kind of thing. Sometimes high blood pressure can increase morning headache. When you're laying down, gravity kind of neutralizes all the blood and fluids level out, and that means that increased fluid can happen in the brain, increased blood flow, and that can sometimes trigger a headache. And then, certainly other things that are less common, like IIH, or idiopathic intracranial hypertension. The old term for this was pseudotumor cerebri. This is where the spinal fluid pressure is too high. So again, when you lay down, fluid kind of normalizes, increases, and you get the headache that is often worse when you're laying down, and then it gets better when you're upright. Poor air quality can actually be a source of morning headaches. So I have a separate blog on that too, to look for some of those possibilities. And then certainly the thing that everybody's always worried about when they come in is a brain tumor. A rare cause of morning headache, but it's still a cause that needs to be evaluated and discussed with your doctor. So those are just some highlights of the blog. The blog will go through way more detail about each of these topics and a lot of other topics, treatments to think about, and a lot of other information related to morning headaches. So check out the blog. If you have questions after that, feel free to drop them in the feed here, and I will get to them. All right, you guys have a great day.